Hello, friends, and welcome back to Sleep Tight Stories. The plush bear was taken back to the workshop and left outside the window. An elf found him and Santa put him in his sleigh to take to Earth. When the plush bear opens his eyes again, he is in a toy store and ready to start his next adventure. The Story of a Plush Bear, Part 3. Horatio Mugg, owner of the toy store where the plush bear was now at home, hurried to the back of the shop. It was here that a noise had come from, and the sound was still going on as Mr. Mugg turned on a light. The plush bear, who was listening as closely as were Geraldine and Angelina, heard Mr. Mugg laugh. With that, the rattling, banging, and tooting noise came to a stop. "Ha, ha, ha," laughed Mr. Mugg again. "What is it?" asked Angelina, his daughter. "It isn't a burglar, evidently." "Nor a policeman nor a fire," Geraldine, his other daughter, added. "None of them," answered Mr. Mugg. "One of the toy trains I wound up this evening just started off by itself. I guess some of the toys wanted a ride, and the engineer of the toy train tooted his whistle to tell them to get aboard." "Why, Father," exclaimed Geraldine, "the toys couldn't want a ride. They can't do anything like that." "Well, I wouldn't be so sure," said Mr. Mugg, as his two daughters entered the rear room to see what had caused all the racket. "Sometimes I feel that these toys know more than we think they do," he went on. "Take that new plush bear," he added, pointing to the other room where the bear was sitting on a shelf. "See how wise he looks? He seems about ready to speak. And if he should ever come to life, I think he would enjoy a ride in the toy train." "Oh, but he can't come to life," exclaimed Angelina. "Huh, can't I, though?" whispered the plush bear to himself. "You just ought to see us toys after dark. No, on second thought, it is just as well you don't see us," he went on. "For if you looked at us, we couldn't say a word or move about. It's best that you do not know we can pretend to be alive." Angelina and Geraldine looked at the toy train, which had caused the excitement. It was a shiny engine with bright cars, a bell, a whistle, and even an iron engineer in the cab. Earlier that evening, Mr. Mugg had wound up the spring in the engine. Somehow, while they were unpacking the toys, the train had started moving on its own, bumping into walls and whistling loudly. "Toot, toot." "What started it?" asked Angelina, when the train had been placed back on the shelf. "Oh, I think the spring began to unwind by itself," answered Mr. Mugg. "Or perhaps our walking around jarred it loose. Either way, no harm is done. Now, let's finish unpacking the toys." Mr. Mugg and his two daughters soon returned to their task, unwrapping toys and placing them carefully on shelves. The plush bear and his friends from Santa Claus's workshop watched, delighted to finally be out of their boxes. "This is so much nicer than the igloo of Ski, the Inuit boy," thought the plush bear. "I wouldn't want to stay in that icy place forever. But here, it's bright, warm, and full of cheer. I think I'll like it here." It was nearly midnight when Mr. Mugg and his daughters finished their work. Wrapping paper and empty boxes were scattered across the floor, and rows of shiny new toys lined the shelves. "This will be enough for tonight," said Mr. Mugg, yawning. Tomorrow, we'll set up the show window. Boys and girls will stop to look, and perhaps they'll take some of these toys home." "Be sure to put the plush bear in the window," said Angelina. "He's so adorable, and he can do so many tricks when wound up." "He's a good toy," agreed Mr. Mugg. Shortly after, the store was left in darkness, except for one small light that glowed softly in the corner. "Oh ho!" thought the plush bear as he noticed the last light flicker. "Now is our chance. Now we can come to life." He turned his head to one side and spoke to the wax doll. "How do you like it here?" asked the plush bear. "Oh, very much," the doll answered. "As soon as we get to know the other toys, I'm sure we'll have fun." "We're glad to welcome you," said a jumping jack, who had been in the store for quite some time. "Take a look around and make yourselves at home. Then we'll have some fun." The plush bear offered his paw to the wax doll. "Come, Miss Wax Doll, let me show you around." Hand in paw, the plush bear and the wax doll strolled through the toy store. Everywhere they went, the older toys greeted them warmly. Suddenly, they found themselves in a curious room filled with pots of glue, wooden arms and legs, bright glass eyes, and scattered tools. "Oh, what a strange place!" exclaimed the wax doll. "This is the repair department," said the jumping jack, who had followed them. "When toys get broken, Mr. Mugg fixes them here. If you ever lose a paw or an ear, plush bear, this is where you'll come." "That's comforting to know," said the plush bear with a chuckle. "It smells a bit smoky," the wax doll observed. "That's because we once had a fire here," said a new voice. They turned to see a cheerful calico clown perched on a shelf. "A fire?" asked the plush bear. "Oh, yes," laughed the clown. "I climbed too close to a gas lamp one day and burned my pants. Sydney, the boy who owns me, brought me here to have them mended." The wax doll giggled, and even the plush bear chuckled. "Bah, bah," bleated another voice. "Who's that?" asked the plush bear. "That's a lamb on wheels," said the jumping jack. "I had one of my wheels come loose," explained the lamb. "Arnold, the boy who owns me, tried to fix it, but in the end, I had to come here. But I'll be good as new soon." The toys chatted happily, sharing stories and laughter until the first light of dawn crept through the frosty windows. Quickly, they returned to their places, freezing into stillness just as the store began to stir. That morning, Mr. Mugg carefully placed the plush bear in the front window. The bear gazed out at the bustling street below, his stitched eyes wide with curiosity. "Oh, I want that plush bear," cried a cheerful voice. "Does he do any tricks?" Mr. Mugg gently lifted the plush bear from the window, wound up his spring, and set him on the counter. The plush bear moved his head, waved his paws, and gave a soft growl. "Oh, he's perfect," said the boy excitedly, his round cheeks glowing with joy. "I want him. He's the best toy I've ever seen." The plush bear felt a warm feeling inside. Wherever this boy would take him, he was certain it would be the beginning of another marvelous adventure. "Don't squeeze the bear so hard, Arthur," said a lady who was with the cheerful boy. "You might break the toy before I've even paid for him." "The plush bear is strong and well made, Mrs. Rowe," said Mr. Mugg with a smile. "He's one of the newest Christmas toys, and I only placed him in the show window this morning." "And I spotted him right away," exclaimed Arthur Rowe, the lively boy with rosy cheeks. "As soon as I saw him, I knew I'd like him. Oh, Mother, Hear him growl, and look how he waves his paws." Indeed, the plush bear was doing all his tricks, for Mr. Mugg had wound him up for just this moment. There he sat on top of the glass showcase, growling softly, make-believe of course, and waving his paws like a real bear. Other customers in the toy store gathered around to watch the plush bear perform, and Arthur clapped his hands with delight. The little bear had become the center of attention, and he felt quite proud. "Wrap him up, Mr. Mugg, please," said Arthur, once the spring had wound down and the plush bear grew still. "I'll take him home with me. Richard, Arnold, Herbert, and Sidney are going to wish they had a toy like this." The plush bear felt himself being carefully lifted by Mr. Mugg, who wrapped him in soft tissue paper and placed him back in a sturdy box, the very same box in which he had traveled from Santa's workshop. "Goodbye, Wax Doll, goodbye, Jumping Jack, Elephant, and all my friends," the plush bear thought as the tissue paper covered his eyes. "I wonder if I'll ever see them again." Of course, he dared not speak these words aloud, for many eyes were watching him. He felt a little sad to leave his friends behind, but Arthur seemed like a kind boy, and the plush bear had a feeling he would be well loved. "Oh, what fun we'll have together," Arthur exclaimed as he left the toy store with his mother. "I'll invite Richard with his white rocking horse, Arnold with his bold tin soldiers, Herbert with his monkey on a stick, and Sidney with his calico clown. It'll be the best day ever." "I thought Sidney's calico clown was broken," said Mrs. Rowe as they climbed into their automobile. "Only his cap was torn off during our circus game," Arthur explained. "Mirabelle's lamb on wheels was broken too, and I think they're both at Mr. Mugg's shop being fixed." "Indeed they are," thought the plush bear, who could hear everything through the tissue paper and box. "I was just talking to the lamb and the clown last night. I hope they find good homes too. I should like to see them again someday." Though the air outside was frosty, the plush bear felt none of it. He was wrapped snugly in paper, safely tucked in his box, and carried inside a warm automobile. It was cozier than the snowbank outside Santa's workshop, or even Ski's igloo. "Look, Nettie, look what I have!" cried Arthur as he burst through the front door of his house, holding the box carefully. Nettie, his little sister, ran to meet him, clutching her rag doll in her arms. But when Arthur began to unwrap the plush bear, Nettie paused. "I don't like growly bears," she said, taking a cautious step back. "Oh, but this one is nice," Arthur reassured her. "He's a plush bear. He wobbles his head, jiggles his paws, and growls. But it's just pretend. Watch." Arthur wound up the plush bear, and when he set him on the floor, the toy began to move his head side to side, wave his paws, and let out a soft, playful growl. "Oh, oh," Nettie gasped, her eyes wide with curiosity. He's not scary at all." "See, I told you," Arthur said proudly. "He's a friendly bear, Nettie." When the spring finally ran down and the plush bear grew still, Nettie picked him up gently and hugged him close. "He's nice," she said softly, "but not as nice as my rag doll." "Well, girls like dolls and boys like bears," Arthur said wisely. "That's just the way it goes." The two children spent the rest of the afternoon playing with the plush bear and rag doll, winding up the bear again and again to watch him wave and growl. That night, after the children had gone to bed, the plush bear was placed carefully in the playroom closet next to Nettie's rag doll. When the house was silent and the moonlight peeked through the curtains, the Plush Bear whispered, "What kind of place is this?" "Oh, it's a lovely home," replied the rag doll kindly. "Arthur and Nettie are very good children, and every summer they go to the seashore." "The seashore?" asked the Plush Bear. "Is that near the North Pole?" The rag doll chuckled. "Oh no, not at all. It's a warm place with golden sand and sparkling blue waves. I've been there with Nettie for 2 summers now, and since Arthur loves you so much, I'm sure you'll get to go this year." "That sounds wonderful," said the Plush Bear dreamily. "I'd love to see it." The toys chatted softly until the first light of dawn touched the sky. Then they became still once more. The months passed happily for the Plush Bear. Winter turned to spring, and spring blossomed into summer. Finally, it was time for the Rowe family to leave for their seaside vacation. Nettie brought her rag doll, and Arthur carried the Plush Bear carefully in his arms as they boarded a train bound for the shore. Arthur and Nettie had seats by the window, and Arthur held the Plush Bear up so he could see the scenery rushing past. "Be careful, Arthur," called Mrs. Rowe. "Don't lean out too far." "I won't," Arthur promised. But as he held the Plush Bear close to the open window, the train gave a sudden jolt. Out of Arthur's hands slipped the Plush Bear, right out the train window. "Oh no!" cried Arthur, leaning forward as the bear tumbled into the grassy field below. The Plush Bear landed softly on a patch of grass beside the train tracks, his plush coat protecting him from harm. But now he was all alone. "What an adventure this is turning out to be," the Plush Bear thought, as the train disappeared into the distance. And that is the end of this part. Good night. Sleep tight.